Hey everybody, how we all doing tonight? Let me see, how are we looking? Oh boy. I was doing a little bit of work beforehand, just kind of like gray tipping all the wings, trying to get it so we were ready to go. Because we're going to do, I'm going to try and finish up the color on the spines on the tail, and we'll do a little bit of ink wash on stuff to kind of try and blend things together tonight. But primarily I didn't want you guys to have to sit here and watch the kind of the same bit of stuff over and over and over again. So I'm going to attempt to get whatever detail we have left taken care of. He is almost entirely finished at this point. So I'm going to do a quick inspection. And I do have some stuff I had done previously. TL Port asked me if I was doing anything special with the base. And the answer to that question is, I went in my backyard. And I got a piece of slate that was out there. Broke it up a bit. And this was my intention. Get him on this base like that. So it's going to take a little bit because he's tipped a little bit over balance, but I'm going to make sure he's glued in. He's also got this tiny little nub on the bottom of his toe right here that used to go into this base down bottom. But I'm going to have to file that down a little so that he'll go flush. So we're going to see if we can get him to set properly on this big sucker. I'm just not sure exactly where I'd like him to be. I'm thinking it might be right about here. We'll have to do a little bit of work. So this base is literally just big old piece of slate that was out in my backyard. I just kind of like banged it against another piece until I got some fairly good organic shapes. So what we're going to need to do probably is touch up the edges underneath. But I went and I put a fairly heavy application of liquid nails between the sandwiched layers of this slate. So once that sets by tomorrow, that ain't going nowhere. But this is basically what he's going to end up looking like. So let's put this aside for the moment. And he's definitely not tipping over once he's fastened to that. Let me tell you. And we'll get in, try and take care of the claws and the tail and stuff. I think what I'm going to do first is actually start straight up with some black ink shader. We're going to go with the dark tone. We're just going to get right into it. Anyhow, welcome to the workshop tonight. Hope everybody is doing well. I managed to unmute myself before we started. Slate, I didn't know if it would take regular glue, so like I just mentioned briefly, I pulled out some liquid nails, some Gorilla Glue construction grade material, and sandwiched that stuff together pretty hard. How are we doing palette wise? We're looking good over there. Yeah, I wasn't shy with it. I was like, nah, I'm not taking any chances. I'm just gonna bury it. And I really did. I applied it like Subway applies mayonnaise when you say go light on the mayo. It was not subtle. Oh, cool. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the quick update. Again, it's a little tricky for me to see it from that end of the stream, so I appreciate it when you guys notice stuff, if you mention it to me, good or bad. So I've got my overhead light on as well as my spotlight on the Mini, so I'm hoping that that will help out a bit. But we're going to go through and just kind of apply the dark tone shade to quick shade to everything to try and blend everything together, because I know that I was playing with these horns a little bit last time and I want to try and make sure that they're all in the right spot. I think this will do it. We really are getting toward the end of this figure. I'm thinking tonight will be the last evening that we do the dragon. We will move on to something else on Thursday. Should I get right into the next set of Critical Role miniatures? Maybe. If Quap's minis show up, I could start doing batch painting examples for the Star Wars tabletop strategy game, because he's sending me quite a few to work on. And I feel like that might be the next stage of things. We've done single minis, we've done a big mini. I think it would be helpful for folks if I could do kind of big batches and runs of similar figures to show how you get through those, because that can be just as daunting as one large figure. One large figure is a task and a half. Lots of small minis can be a psychological chore, because it can almost feel like you're not getting anywhere if you're not careful. So you set things up in stages, and when you get through those stages, you can be like, oh, okay, making progress. When I used to run my shop, we used to set up paint projects among the staff in such a way as the guys who really like to put minis together would be tasked to crank through and assembly line a whole bunch of figures for our new display. And then you had the guys who liked to paint but weren't necessarily the super detail guys, and they were great for getting base coats done because they still understood how the colors needed to work, so they'd help out that way. Everybody has the parts that they are good at, and all you gotta do is help them find it, and then everybody can get participation bonus. I'm just kind of going through and doing an initial hit to a lot of these with the shader, because I want to gloss them up a little bit, see if anything else needs work after that first layer is done. So we're just going to work our way through. Someday I will actually make some progress on moving this out towards the greater portion of my finished basement, because I really do need to convert this to a stand. I feel like it would be better for me and better for you guys being able to see what's going on. Yeah, because I could stand up. I could mount my cameras permanently. I could stand. I could fix my camera angles in the right spot. And I wouldn't have to constantly make adjustments. So if you guys remember, we're working across a very light base on the inside of these, and I'm sort of pulling the shader out to the edges. But what I'm hoping it's going to do for me is give us a better blend so it's not so stark. I think it's working out. How is everyone doing this week? My weekend schedule got all weird on me. I had a couple of good D&D games that were run online, which was very nice, very relaxing. But it was one of those things where, like, I was looking forward to those in person, and it's just now kind of hitting me that it's not going to happen for a while. So, trying to get past it. Most of those folks I play with, I talk to on a regular basis, online and whatnot, but still. I think this guy is going to run me out of my dark tone, my Army Painter dark tone. I'm going to have to buy some more when I'm done. Because, wow. Crept into a bit of Christopher Walken there, sorry. Wow! Stand on your nose for a second. Yeah, I'm getting most of the way through this bottle. You're probably one of the few people who understand what it is to work from home and can stay focused enough to do it. I feel like that's part of the reason why it hasn't been as widespread as it should be, is because those in charge of the businesses don't understand and don't have the focus to stay at home and do it on a regular basis. At least the companies that I've worked for, I get that impression. So it's very difficult if you have children that are also staying at home. If children are stuck at home with you and they don't quite understand that, you know, mommy or daddy have things that they need to do, it gets kind of tricky. Yeah, I know, right, kiddo? So it is not an easy thing. But we'll get through it. And hopefully people will realize it's a good thing and actually will start switching over to being remote mostly for those jobs that need it. Because those places that are just like, you need to have your butt in this seat so I can see what you're doing, don't understand that that's not really a requirement. Send them home with a machine. If you have to monitor the work machine for activity and you know, you can set it so that it checks the software focus. It's not out of control, you know. It's not like something that you can't do. It's absolutely doable. I think we're hopefully coming past the point, or at least getting over the hump, where there's some real like outdated mindsets that don't understand the technology that can be used, and those are the same guys that, you know, let half of their IT group go because nothing's happened in the past 6 months. We're paying these guys X amount of dollars a year and I don't see any return on it. And like, well, did you have any interruptions in your service or your network or your phone systems or anything like that? Yeah, that's their job. Oh, I believe it. I believe it, Neff. I believe it. It is not... Yeah, and Leona, it's just something that we have to acclimate to. Like, Mommy and I have been kind of getting distracted on our own because we're not even really sure what's going on right now. I have got much less painting done than I should. And I need to fix that. So the nice thing about this shader, I think, is it's going to do the work on the wingtips for me. Because I want it to get darker toward the end. And as long as it's running towards that... Oh! I put my fingers in the wet stuff. Did I do that in... Oh, 16 minutes, so I didn't break the record of last time. Last time it was 5 minutes, right? I am getting in the way of the camera, though, so... Oh. Did I just hear a cat outside? She might be coming in to say hello. Oh, yeah. Yep, yep. Hold on. Oh, there she went. I saw her go past on the kitten cam. What you want, Sifferdo? Alright, let's get this one done. There she goes again. Mm-hmm. Yep. When it comes down to it, as long as the work is getting done, that's the important part. That is the important part. And sadly, Sif is gone. A very brief kitten interlude. A kitten interlude. A kitterlude, perhaps. But hopefully everybody who's joining me tonight is keeping healthy as I scratch my face. But I haven't been out of my damn house for like 3 weeks. So I don't think I'm transmitting anything at the moment. It really has been like 3 weeks since I left my damn house. I feel like I must be doing an okay job being a parent because my daughter was sad that they closed school. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've been isolated for a significant amount of time. The only problem is we'll step outside healthy and somebody will not have been as diligent, and that'll be the end of that. Yeah. But hey, we'll get through it. And it's just a matter of keeping focused, keeping in touch, enjoying people's company as digitally or as, over the phone or whatever as you can. Definitely keep in touch with your parents if you have them still. If not, they managed to avoid this garbage. It's true. Hey Tess, I think you should just make some baked goods, make some batches of baked goods, and we can sell those for some extra income. I'll have some Corona-free muffins at the corner. So what you're saying is it's feasible. And that's a good thing. It's feasible. Okay, I'm working on not hitting the stuff that's currently wet, which is very tricky because I'm doing all of the wingtips, which is making it hard for me to get around onto stuff. So let's finish these suckers up. Yeah, she just started that. And I was like, we should, since you have to split it so much, we should see if anybody else is trying to start sourdough stuff and hand some out. You know, get things kind of communally started. I know, Naf, you don't like sourdough, but you were there when I offered it to the Discord folks. I was like, hey, so I don't know if I mentioned this. I'm very pleased to say that we've broken 60 on followers. I am now up to 61. I am very, very pleased that people have decided that they think this is interesting enough to click the follow button, and I super, super appreciate it. I am really hoping that I can at least keep those follows. But remember, if you do happen to have an Amazon account and you are on here on Twitch, they give you a free subscription. It's like a token essentially for a free subscription every month, and you can just go up there to that subscribe button up top and just tap it, and you should get the option to subscribe with Prime, which is no money out of your pocket because you're already paying through Amazon, and it helps me out with a subscription. So if you get the opportunity, take a quick peek, see if you have the option open, and don't forget to toss a coin to your painter. He appreciates it. So we're getting real close. Like, this guy, very nearly finished. I'm very happy with the way he's come out so far. I need to allow that to dry. I've done the coats on the horns and on the toes and on the wingtips, and I'm thinking it's actually looking really sweet. So would we like to... I'm about to do that. That was going to be my question, Tess. Would you guys like to see the base and help me work through decorating it a bit and getting that rolling? Because I think that might be fun to do. So I'm going to take him, move these dudes out of the way. These are a work in progress Blood Bowl team still. It's been driving me a little crazy. I've been trying to figure out the best way to do a couple of different options. I need to put his front foot up on something because his wings are big enough that the tips hit the ground. There we go. Popping a wheelie in the back. All right. So I built it so it's got a bit of an angle to it, just a little bit of an incline. And it definitely has some overlap and some overhang. You might be able to see Yeah, you can see some of the, like, I really did put a heck of a lot of glue in there. And that is liquid nails, so that stuff is like concrete after it dries up. And that should keep this together real well. Now the question is, do I want to paint it or do I want to leave it? Thanks, Leona. That's what red dragons do. These are the fire-breathing bad guys. Think I should leave that? I'd like to do something along the base. Yeah, you mentioned that. It's not. The base is real. The base is actual stone from outside of my backyard. I just cleaned it off. Stop tipping off of that thing there. Good? You good, Dragoni? Okay. But what can we do to spruce it up a little bit? Because I'd like it to be a little more weathered looking. I was really thinking about taking a brown wash and just kind of like doing the cracks so the cracks stand out a little bit more. And so it looks a little bit dirty, a little bit windblown, and then maybe dusting the edges. And I don't want to do snow because it's a red dragon, and where they live, it ain't snowy. They turn wherever they live into volcanic craziness. So what to do? What to do? I'm going to need to figure out where his feet are going to end up settling. Because he's going to be doing one of these, I think. Where are we going? Can't have his foot hanging over the edge though, because I didn't bend his toes. If you don't bend his toes, then you got to make sure everything is on the base. I think that might do well. Part of me wanted to set him back just far enough that part of his toes were on the edges and I could do little like white scrapes, but I don't think that's going to work out. Part of me really wishes I could get in there and I think that's probably going to be the best. So what I'm going to need to do first, so he's got this little nub underneath and I'm going to need to trim that out. So hang on here for a minute. Getting my trimmers. I got a couple of side cutters here. Just a little old, you know, they're nothing special. Just Klein Tools set of side cutters. Because I want to get in and pump that nub off of the foot so that when we mount him, his foot goes flat. And that sucker is right here. think that's where he's going to have to be. What I might need to do is file the feet down just a little bit. They're not necessarily super duper flat. Today is one of those days when you realize how much cat hair you actually have on your desk. You're like, what is wrong? So I'm just going to trim down and try and flatten out underneath so that the toes get closer to being flush, because they aren't necessarily super flush with the tabletop. And by tabletop I mean stone surface. So I'm looking to keep these toes right up to the front. I want his right foreleg to end up right here at the edge. Super flush! Should I start a line of toilets? All right, now what I'm going to do. This is a little trick to keep in mind when you are attempting to find out where the feet need to be. So, I am going to take a little bit more of my black, actual black. Put a dab of it here. If it comes out. Probably getting low on this too. And I'm going to get the bottom of his feet wet. After I get this brush wet first, because apparently it's been sitting for a while. So I'm going to touch the toes, because what we're doing is we're going to try and figure out where things are going to sit. And you can be moderately generous with this because you want it to be really wet. Because what you're going to do is you're going to flip the model over. This is mostly for customization work. Like, I want the front foot here, the next foot there, and the back foot set on the edge. I'm going to sit there for a second. And hopefully, I only got one spot. And it's probably the important one anyway. It's like I'm taking his, it's like I'm taking a fingerprint. Getting his fingerprints. Okay. Hang out there for 1 second. So what we've got, so I've got a spot right here, a spot right here, I've got a spot back here. Those are going to be my main mounting points. Alternatively, I could swivel him around the other way and see if he looks better like this. Well, you know what? I actually kind of think I like it this way better, which is weird. Alright, I need an opinion. Angled upwards or angled down? Angled up or angled down, guys? Yeah. Hold on, I gotta tell Pandora thumbs down. Get rid of that. Get rid of that crap. I don't need that. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the overhang. I don't know if I'm going to have... Well, there's a fuzzy somebody down by my ankles. What are you doing down there? You want to say hi? Hmm? You want to say hi? Or are you good where you are? Come on. There you go. Granted, she's not going to pay attention to the camera at all. Oh, and there she goes. Where you going? Hang out. She's not going to hang out. Sorry. I got excited. Oh, she's coming up here. What's that? What's that? I'm trying to figure out how this dragon's going to finish. Mounting it on this base, I think, is going to be the big... There's some size perspective for you. Oh, there's a monster. It's a giant gray monster. She's gonna eat it. Oh no! So... yeah. Predators. Protects them from predatory cats. So I'm experimenting with different foot positions. We might be able to do a compromise between down and up. Do one of these. So it's kind of off to the side. I think that gets the most dramatic... stone facing. So the real question is, how do I want to attach? I have Gorilla Glue. I have some super glue that should hold him. But I still want to make some... I want to make some modifications to the base. Like, I'd like to put in some grass around the edges or something down at the bottom. You know, a little bit of moss in there, like I feel like right now it's just a ham sandwich without the sandwich. It's just ham. Nothing but ham. We need something else in there. We need something else in there. What do you think, Sif? What do you think? She's sitting on the arm of my chair. So, what do I have? I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I wish. That'd be awesome. It is not me painting, it is my cat painting. So, on the main screen, got to keep this busy. Got to keep doing something over here. I think I am going to do, just because I am going to do a quick wash, we're going to go with, I'm going to see what the strong tone does down on this side of, keep it up, kitten. Keep it up. Keep it up. We're going to have some fun. I hope that this actually stays if I coat this, but we'll find out. Oh, that's actually looking really, really nice. This is literally just a dark tone, not the dark wash, but the I'm using the strong tone and just painting it down along the cracks. Ooh, Naffy coming in with a crazy idea. Can we do that? And if so, how? I'm just going to apply this to the edges because I'm kind of liking the way it looks. You heading out, Scoot? Thanks for stopping by. There we go. Kitten interlude. So this is going to darken this up just a bit. But according to tests, the rock looked fake with the dragon on top of it, so let's apply a little bit of an effect and see what we can get. Leona's going to be mad at me because I started messing with the base. Sorry, kiddo. Sometimes I just gotta add more contrast so you can see it. I know it looks real, because it is real. But this is a painting stream, so I should be painting it. No, working my way around the edges. I just want to kind of like just glaze it almost with this stuff. And it's a large chunk of what I'm doing for this presentation, so it's going to be a lot of my strong tone. But we've used a lot of different kinds of washes on this mini, so I guess it's appropriate. Thank you. Trying to see underneath and get everything. It's not easy. Okay, I'm gonna have to get across the front. Blah, 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 blah. Once I'm completely finished with this figure and I get him all like mounted here, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna go and I picked up some of the Aegis coat from Army Painter, which is a seal coat matte varnish. So we're gonna have this matte varnish to help avoid getting chips and stuff like that on it. So I don't want this to be... I need to break up these lines a little bit. Just making some streaks. Didn't put it on quite heavy enough to really have it completely blend through. It's currently wet, that's why it looks wet. It will dry. It will dry and lose that glossiness. Plus, I'm going to hit it with a matte varnish afterwards. So, and I'm also going to have to get underneath. No, maybe not. Maybe be lighter from underneath because the rain doesn't hit it, so it's, you know, not going to have as much growth on it. Steam, though, how could I do... Well, I do need to do my typical colored rim on the base. So, why don't I stack some of my old Chardonnay granite foundation paint, and we'll paint the base with that foundation so I can put something else on top of it, like glue or flocking or something down there. We've been working with lots of grays and dark colors last couple of sessions. So it'll be kind of a charcoal color down low. Oh, this isn't draw yet. Getting ahead of myself. Alright. Just hit the base with this gray. Maybe we'll do everything on the original base in... Oh, I will paint the original portion of the base, so all of this black underneath all of these rocks. We will paint that. That like lava. Ah. That'll work. And that will be lovely. So let's get this all set underneath. You know what? I don't even need to continue with this gray. I can switch over and let's switch from the gray and grab that yellow foundation paint. Well, it's the original base was just a big circle, but it can be under this rock, and because it creeps in and stuff like that, it can absolutely be lava. It can be sitting on a plinth on top of lava. If I really wanted to go crazy, I could make it look like obsidian. Shh. Oh, should I do that? Just paint the sucker super black, put the gloss finish on it, and then get in the cracks with like a blue or something. It might contrast. Oh, Joda! Oh man. Okay, hold on. Okay, let's give this a second. Let's give this a second to dry while I'm considering all these crazy things. All these crazy ideas. So, we could do the base. We could do all of the flat original base in glowing hot magma. Hopefully that face wasn't too ridiculous, because it's now preserved for posterity on my recording. Okay, so if I wanted to paint this rock like obsidian, I need to go and do it super jet black. And it might work. It might work because it is all fractured and stuff around the edge. And having a red dragon on top of a volcanic obsidian rock makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. I'm going to have to start retitling my streams. Be like, working on this, and then completely changing my mind and doing something entirely different. Oh, boy. Okay, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Dry, dry, dry. You need to dry. You need to finish drying. Now I'm as excited to finish the base as I am to do the whole dragon. Come here. Come here for just a second. Not necessarily. This isn't, I didn't put paint on it, I put a wash on it. So it's mostly dry. It's just not dry kind of on the edges. The wash is the super wet, the super wet runny stuff. Okay, first things first. First things first. Sorry, big old rake. I'm gonna have to move you over again. I know, you're the star. You're the star. You hang out right there. Okay? You hang out right there. Alright, tank brush. I need the big old brush again. I'm gonna need the big old brush. We're gonna need a heck of a lot of black. And I'm thinking it's just straight black, so it might be tricky to have it work out really well. But let me do a quick reference search. so pretty. For being just black, it's so pretty. I'm not going to have the curved glass-like shards. But I think I can make this work. I think I can make this work. So let's take this, save that image real quick. We're going to drop it into painting, D&D, Ancient Red. Drop it into Obsidian. I am going to snag the slideshow and we'll do a quick adjustment. Add. On the fly. Changing our mind. It didn't save. Save. Ooh, I know. You. Damn you, Google. Damn you, Google. Give me the picture. I must log into complete purchase. I'm not looking to buy it. I just want a picture of Obsidian. Stop being difficult. There we go. That's a JPEG. That's what I'm looking for. Absolutely. Arkadowke. Thanks for sticking with me. I know this is a bit of a crazy deviation. Why are you not? Okay, whatever. We'll skip that for now. Let's just stick with what we're doing. Get to the black. Paint the whole sucker black. I've got a nice big piece of obsidian on my screen. No, not necessarily. I have an idea for that, Neff. I think what I'm going to do is we'll do a little bit of contrast highlights. We'll do some extreme highlighting there. And it might show up really, really well. I'm not painting this in Vanta black. We're just going... Alright, big old tanky tank brush. Get you ready to go. Getting you ready to go. I feel like I should take a quick break. If people want to stand up for a second, it is 9 o'clock. So I usually do my in-between right here. So I'm just going to remind folks. Ugh, don't listen to my desk. It's all squeaky and nasty. That it's a good time to stand up and stretch. I'm going to see if I can hit this real quick and see what happens. I feel like we can still get the right color here if I change this from a piece of slate to a piece of obsidian. I may need to do more than one coat across the top. But I don't think we're going to lose the edges. It's getting a little streaky up there. Oh, I could... If I can make these curves a little sharper. It's almost going to work out because obsidian has that crazy, like, maybe I can... I might... Black 2.0 would be really cool. It would completely defeat the purpose of painting details in a miniature. But it would totally work, and it would be really funny. Okay, so if you look at pictures of obsidian online, when they're broken pieces, the napping pattern on it is like this. I'm going to totally leave that. I'm going to totally leave that. We just basically made an obsidian surface on top of this piece of slate. And I'm very excited that that is doing what it's doing. And I don't want to touch it now because it looks great. Okay, let's get some more purposeful brush strokes so that we can simulate obsidian. Okay, so the black I'm using is actually the Vallejo black, which was the really extra wet and runny one that I had tried to use on a previous model in the Critical Role series, but I feel like it's going to work out well in this instance, especially if I can keep some of those brush strokes in as a texture. If I do some circles on my brush strokes, it might help me keep in an actual natural obsidian napping texture to it. Like when you make an obsidian knife, when you break obsidian, it breaks like glass, breaks like thick glass, because it's essentially all it really is. But it gets super, super sharp. But you get that cool kind of circular, hemispherical pattern to it. Yeah. And when it's really glossy, it'll be super sharp on the edges, and I think it's going to look awesome. The episode where Remius paints rocks. Welcome to Twitch. I need this to dry a little because I'm going to have to handle it to get up into all of the underneath parts. Oh boy. Oh, can we get this done? I think we can get this done within the next hour. I think it'll look really cool. Because I'm doing most of this with the tank brush, kind of like we did with the dragon. A lot of this is going to be done with the tank brush. So that'll mean that it should move along pretty quickly. Now one of the drawbacks of using actual slate in this particular instance is that it's slate. So it is very, very brittle, and I have to be kind of careful when we're handling it from, now on, because it is flaky and breaks easily. Okay, all right. Let me get up and underneath it. Top is dry, so I can hold it top and bottom. We'll just keep working our way through. We'll just get this sucker all covered. And I do intend to do a gloss coat over it because I think that's going to make it look absolutely amazing. But again, I got to be careful when it comes to corners and edges. because that is going to Chronomancer Geology Edition. I ran out of minis. I'm just painting rocks. Nothing but rocks. Whacking my microphone with a tank brush. Ooh, I can almost not get in there. I hope so. I think Bob Ross would say something about do whatever makes you happy. You gotta paint nice rocks. If you like painting rocks, you can do a lot of nice textures on rocks. So just go. Let it go. Just let the rock be happy with its color. Okay, I'm gonna need to get a little bit more black. Where'd I put it? Over here. The thumbnail for this stream is going to be garbage. I'll be like, me with a black rock. Excitement! Adventure! Black rocks with paintbrushes. You can tell I've been in my house for too long. I'm getting super punchy. Alright, this one. Okay, we're getting to the extent at which I can get inside. Because, holy crap, this brush is too big. I literally can't get any farther in. Okay. Get under here. Yep. I like this idea. I'm gonna credit Naf for the idea. She was like, lava and stuff. I was like, ooh, lava and stuff. And then we started talking about it. And all of a sudden, lava became something a little more interesting. Not that lava isn't interesting. But I think that the contrast between the circular base underneath and this very, very glassy obsidian is going to look really nice. And I think it's going to set off the bright red fiery dragon on top even better. Alright, we're getting to the point back here where I can't reach any deeper with this brush. So let's get over to... Alright, so because we're doing a gloss varnish on this, the gloss varnish is probably going to have to wait until after. I need to figure out how we're going to mount the dragon on, if it's just going to be super glue or if I'm going to have to try and figure out a way to drill holes for posts. But we can finish this up so that you guys will see how it's going to look. And then I'll post some pictures of it attached and fastened. Yeah. Good idea. Good idea. Thank you for the reminder, Tess. Let me just get this last bit underneath on this side. I find it interesting that the Vallejo black does not necessarily coat as well as the Army Painter black. Like, it's a slightly different color black, or it's thinner so it doesn't come across, so it doesn't actually like come in gray on the rocks. I mean, it doesn't doesn't cover completely. It's tinted slightly by the rock, the surface underneath. This poor brush. This poor brush. It did not sign up to paint cracks in slate. All right. Now that we've gone full black, dropped our enormous tank brush in the thing again. All right. So yeah, that's gonna look good. That's gonna look real good. Big old angry red dragon on top of a nice shiny piece of obsidian. All right, and now thanks, Al. We can thank Neff for the inspiration. She might not have said it right off the bat, but she definitely opened that door, and I wandered into that room and thought about it kind of out loud. Okay, so now my plan is we are going to work. I'm going to take this yellow. I'm going to take this Citadel base color Averland Sunset. Hopefully you can kind of read that. Hey, there we go. Nice and sharp. This is a foundation kit paint or a base coat. There you go. For those who missed it the first time. That's what it's going to look like, mostly done. The base underneath, this little round bit down here, this edge, we're going to hit with this bright yellow. Right after I get super deep in the cracks with this base coat brush. So I got to get way in here. Right up in here, Morty. All the way up in there. Where the big brush just would not reach. The nice part is I can actually paint the liquid nails in there. It is just a flat surface and it's like molten obsidian. I know it's not necessarily. Maybe I'll go back in there and I'll paint that as kind of like a lava crack Easter egg, because we'll get all the way inside for those people who really inspect it closely. It's just ridiculous. I find it amusing that I went outside, I picked up a rock, I brought it inside, I cleaned the rock off. Now I'm painting said rock. In front of people for the internet. Rock painting. Not even like doing any sort of cool art or anything on the top of it. I'm just painting a dang rock. Leona's going to share it with her class. She'll be like, my daddy painted a rock online. That is not remotely close to what my daughter sounds like. But you get the point. Okay. little bit more. Art is confusing. I am holding a sandwich. It's a rock sandwich. I would laugh uproariously if for some weird reason this became the most popular video that I do. Because not only am I painting a rock, but I'm going by a company named Chromomancer, which implies lots of colors. And I'm painting this rock black. Oh boy. I need some of that black 3.0 for 40K minis. Like for creepy demon stuff. Alright, come here. Let's get this base coat tone over here. So I think we're going to have a little bit of fun with it. I almost broke my own rule. I almost closed that paint pot with one hand. Could have been disastrous. It shoots across the room. Okay, so we're just going to get underneath. Now I got to be careful because I want to go under all of the rocks, not over all of the rocks. And we're just going to go around. I'm holding it the wrong way. Got some fuzz on it. I need to be able to see down in here, and I don't want to get any of this on the slate piece. I don't mind if I hit the adhesive that I use to keep this sucker on the base with, but I most definitely don't want to get this on the rocks themselves. So this is where we got to be a little careful. And again, this is just an undercoat for the brighter colors. We're going to get back under here and do oranges and reds. But I want to make sure that the paint will apply properly over these oranges. I mean, over this dark color. And if I just do, if I do it straight over the black, it's gonna be streaky and uneven. So it's hard to see. I'm getting around the edge. Just want this outside coat to be smooth. Now this goes in pretty deep back down here, so under there I got to try and be careful. I really do like that song, but I think it's less because of the Rolling Stones and more because of Twisted Metal. Okay, I got some on that rock. It's all right. I think it's still going to work. Can you see it under there? So that's going to be a nice red kind of rivulet of lava coming out. I hear somebody stomping around upstairs, and this is way past her bedtime. And by upstairs, I mean on the actual ground floor of my house. All of my stuff is in the basement. All right, you get a pass. You get a pass to piss. You get a piss pass. Piss pass. Okay, let's get under this one. Again, this is another little cool little crack that's going to go in there. Might be able to just paint reflections underneath on the rocks and stuff too. All right. So, next up, do a quick search. I want to see, I'm sorry about the table. My desk is old. We're having some fun now, though. All right. So what I'm gonna do, do I want this one? Gold yellow? No, I think I want to do sun yellow. This is going to be nice because the mouth up top has that yellow in it, and the base underneath is going to have the yellow in it as well. So it'll balance the overall presentation out really well. It's going to be a little tricky to get into some of these places, but it's all right. Just let the bristles do their work. Be patient. I feel like this is going to balance out the mini really, really well. And I realize that my hand is totally in the way. most of the time painting this. I apologize. We'll get to it. But what I can do down here is actually make essentially the entirety of this base glossy, because the lava is going to be glossy, the obsidian is going to be glossy. I think it'll look really cool. The funny part is I might get some dark streaks in it, but I'm looking at pictures of lava and that's just the way it flows. There are dark spots, all dark lines and streaks and cracks and stuff everywhere. So I feel like those streaks will make it look more natural. So I'm not going to worry about them. Just going to try and make sure that they're going kind of in a similar direction, if nothing else. I love you too. Good night, kiddo. Good night, mama. Again, this is one of those processes where you're like, that could work, that'd be nice, I could save some work doing it this way, but wait a minute. You bump into something that sounds really awesome. And you just gotta work through that process. I think this is going to look pretty cool. Because I'm going to go through and I'm going to grab some of the orange and I'm going to do a similar... Just going to go through and get everything I can. So I'm going to grab this one. This one's called Orange Fire, which we used in the scales of the main portion of the dragon. I'm going to put it on over here. Come on back over. Trying to be gentle where I'm picking it up, because again, slate's real fragile. So what I'd like to do is actually leave some of the yellow exposed in a couple of places. We're almost working in the opposite direction where I had used, I had started with the dark red and I moved up through oranges and into yellow. We're going to go in the opposite direction and we're going to go bright yellow under, bringing it to kind of the warm reds and oranges. But I'm not going to go, I might not go all the way to a deep red, but we're going to definitely bring it up. Just working our way around. Again, trying to do our best to make sure that the coats of paint stay smooth. I'm not looking for bumpy streaks. And again, if I get it on the rocks, it's easy to fix. It's not like the black will have a hard time coating over. So I can always go back and touch up spots where I hit. Just trying to keep the line kind of natural. And again, I'm sorry for kind of obscuring most of what I'm painting. Rock is kind of heavy compared to a regular mini. Okay, coming along. All right, before I move on to the red on the bottom, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little teeny tiny bit of this gray that I have mixed up over here, which is part of the mix for all of his horns and spines. I'm going to grab that on this brush. And I'm going to get a little bit of it off on here. And I'm just going to use the edge of the brush to go across some of the edges of the rock face. I'm going to highlight some of the sharp corners and such down here like this. We're just going to lightly drag it along the edges, kind of accentuating some of these spots so that you can start seeing them a little bit more. I want them to stand out. Just using the side of the bristles to try and pick the sharp corners of these rocks out. Some of the natural edges. And it's going to give us some highlights right through here before we do a gloss coat over this portion of it. So now you can start to see more of it. And just be real gentle with it. You don't necessarily need to go too heavy on this part. Just want to tickle the edges. Part where it's going to kind of shine up at you. Another reason to be gentle is because, like I said before, I gotta keep saying this, slate is super brittle. So you gotta be real careful with it. Alright, come here for a second. I'll start getting the undersides here because there's a lot of light coming up from underneath. So I might be a little bit heavier under here because this is where the lava is really casting its light up. We're just going to get over here. So now we got some reflection going on underneath. It's just me whacking the mic. Don't mind. Okay, that doing well. I like the obsidian. I think our lava's doing well so far. I need to get the reds in there though, so let's go grab a red. Bring it down to a hot orange, which I believe is this one from over here last time. Okay, pick up my sandwich. Trying to get up underneath here. Be kind of careful. I gotta make sure I'm not resting this on the table. Because I don't want to accidentally like press a corner against the tabletop. That would be bad. Just getting up underneath all these portions, and there's a bit of a dark patch under here. But that's all right. I don't really mind it too much. I think I'm just going to work with it. Kind of do... You know how it kind of makes that broken pattern sometimes when it's flowing? I want to try and do that in some of these corners so it looks more like there's a flow coming out from underneath this rock. Okay. Coming along, coming along. Make sure I got the rim done. All right. Now, I'm going to get some of that red, that deeper red, but instead of just painting it on in chunks, I want to leave some streaks. So I'm going to go down to a slightly smaller brush. I don't want to go to detail. Which brush was that? My base coat brush? So let's work with the standard brush. And I'm going to switch over to bloody red. I'm going to put it right down here. All right. I'm going to start in this little crack, and I'm just going to kind of try and trace what might be the lava flow from underneath. I don't necessarily need to cover everything with the red. I am going to do the edges because I think the red edge will work well. But I'm just going to try and pick up some bits. All right, now that I'm over here, make sure that is even, and then I'm going to reach up into this crack up in here. Try and draw some lines out for it. One spot does not want to, it's just like this weird location that's just staying dark. There we go. And let me bring in some of the lava flow this way. I'm just kind of painting the edge, tucking it in places, leaving some of the bright yellow at the corners and edges and stuff like that, and the oranges. There we go. Try and get the edges of the base to be somewhat even. Come all the way around. Okay, we've got some, definitely got some moving magma there. It's a bright yellow spot that I need to take care of. A little too bright. That's better. There we go. It just takes a little bit of time to kind of get your layers in so that it starts looking more natural. It's hard for me to get all of these. And we're getting there. We are getting there. And I'm going to probably go one shade darker on red, and then maybe take some black and put in a couple of what would be little rocks. So I'm going to snag this gory red. Can you see it? There we go. Gory red. Put it over here. I'm mostly going to be using this as a shade. We're sort of working in reverse order. Like I had said before, the dragon went from a dark red to a light yellow, whereas this is going from the bright yellow and I'm working it down. I'm kind of layering it on top because the thicker it gets, it ends up darkening up quite a bit, as lava does. So carefully pick this guy up. That little corner there is definitely still wet, so I'm going to leave that alone for a moment. I'm going to come on over here, kind of try and do some little flows and eddies on top of the red. I'm looking to only really get on the darker reds if I can. It's not easy to hit, so don't feel bad. It's supposed to look kind of natural anyway, so this is not necessarily exact. It's not an exact science. Tuck in some of this corner here. I'm just going to start tickling the edge with some of this darker red just to give it some depth. we're coming around towards closer to what the color of the dragon was, so this is kind of cool. All right, I got some lava flow tucked way back in here like this. I like it. I like it. Think of it like you're painting water, but instead of using shades of blue, you're just picking it up in shades of red, because it's essentially the same way, it's just flowing the same way. And it's supposed to be kind of an angry, move this way, hold it properly. Yeah. Alright, now let's get to this big problem spot over here and do some little zigzags and stuff with the tip of the brush. Kind of move it along. Alright. Now the question is, where's the rest? My black should still be good. So we're going to draw a real thin roll on the brush out to the end. I'm going to get in here and make sure that these are still nice and dark. But I don't mind if there's a little bit of a glow on the underside, so I'm just kind of pulling it down and toward me. And in these larger sections, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in here with the brush, and I'm going to let the brush kind of tickle out some little squiggles of darker color. Kind of give that illusion of the drying magma on the top. Just to darken it up a little bit, like little wisps of it flowing along the edges on top of the red. So anywhere I've put that real dark red, I'm going to try and add some of those darker streaks through it. Make sure I get the corners of these. Maybe I'll drop in some along the corner here. I'll do some hard slashes down next to the rocks. Just being careful. Try not to overdo it. The last thing I want to do is really go crazy and overdo these darker lines because I'd like it to be a nice high contrast. So I'm just trying to essentially, it's almost like you're trying to shade it, but you're shading it, so I'm shading as opposed to highlighting. So I'm trying to get in there along some of these points and just let the black kind of dance on top of some of the bits so that it deepens it down a little. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. All right, so Obsidian is all set, and let's take a look at how he's going to be all done. Where do we want to do this? I wanted to do it over this way, right? Nope, I'm not necessarily running late. I'm just finishing up. I was doing up the base. I wanted to make it look like obsidian with lava flow underneath. And I think that's it. I think we're done. I'll have him mounted, and I'll do the matte varnish on him and everything. But I feel like he's all set. Gotta give him a nice slow turn. So that you guys get one last good view. There we go. So yeah, it looks like it was 5. 5 episodes of painting this ancient red on his nice big old piece of obsidian in the middle of a little lava field. Yeah, I am very happy with the result. I'm glad you guys stuck around for the ride. So, Thursday, I've got to figure out what else I'm going to do. It might be a surprise. I'm going to do a little bit of a search. I was talking earlier about possibly doing batch painting. And yeah, we'll see. I'll post some stuff on social media, Facebook, Twitter, on the Chromomancer page on Facebook. I am very nearly done with the website. We were working on finalizing some of the just some of the wording and some of the text. And we'll catch you guys later. Stay healthy, wash your hands, and we will see you on Thursday night. Thank you very much for sticking with me. I'm really happy with the way this turned out, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a fantastic evening. Get some rest. We'll see you next time.